phase, with the remaining 1,894 detainees undergoing verification. With the Karnataka police saying those found to be illegal infiltrators will face further action, including deportation back to Bangladesh.
And moving ahead to more stories, a labourer remains trapped under soil in Rajasthan's Sikar nearly 8 hours after he was buried inside a pit on the Piprali road. The worker, identified as Sikandar Ali, was trapped while a pit was being dug for a private hostel's septic tank and sewage system. SDRF and civil defence teams from Jaipur are leading the rescue operation. Here's a full report. Take a look.
A daily wage labourer remains trapped under the soil nearly 8 hours after being buried inside a pit dug for sewage work in Rajasthan's Sikar. The labourer, identified as Sikandar Ali, was trapped while a pit was being dug for a private hospital's septic tank and sewage system. Rescue teams of the SDRF and civil defence from Jaipur are battling to reach Sikandar and bring him out safely. While excavation work was underway, the surrounding soil suddenly collapsed into the pit, burying him underneath the debris. For now, the focus remains entirely on safely extricating Sikandar Ali, but there is no official confirmation yet on his condition as teams continue to carry out the rescue operations.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
भारत की सबसे बड़ी गोल्ड लोन NBFC मुथूट फाइनेंस से गोल्ड लोन लीजिए और फिर देखिए सोना क्या नहीं कर सकता। कॉल कीजिए 1-800-313-1212।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा, आर प्योर मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े, चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट।
अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
और निश्चित रूप से
तबीयत तो दादा कल जब डॉक्टर आए हैं तो शुगर BP सब लो हो गया है और जो है सो डॉक्टर बोल रहे हैं पानी लीजिए। हमें लगता है कि अब इस राज्य के लिए, इस मुल्क के लिए हम अपने आप को त्याग कर दें, अपने जान को, अपने जिस्म को त्याग कर दें, क्योंकि ये सरकार जाग नहीं रही है। एक टीम भी बुलाई तो उधर से बुलाई, इधर इस मंच से बुलाई ही नहीं। आज मैसेज किया है कि जो है सो इधर से भी बुलाएंगे। अब बताइए कल क्यों नहीं बुलाए? हम लोग दो गुट में नहीं है दादा। ये 25 तारीख को ये यहाँ से देवेंद्र नाथ बाबू जो है उनकी अगुवाई में बापू वाटिका से ये आंदोलन शुरुआत होती है। आप देख लीजिए बैनर में भी लिखा हुआ 25 जुलाई से। और ये जिस तरह से उलूल जुलूल बात किया जा रहा है आपके चैनल पे, मैं बता दूं कि बता दिया जा रहा है कि जो है सो सीएम साहब से बात नहीं होगी, उनके मंत्रियों से बात होगी। मैं सीएम साहब को कहना चाह रहा हूं कि आप बिल्कुल ही ये आंदोलन को और लंबा करना चाह रहे हैं। आपसे मैं पहले भी बोला था, आप ही के चैनल पे बोला था कि सीएम साहब आपसे डायरेक्ट बात करना चाहते हैं, वो भी उसमें भी वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग के साथ बात करना चाहते हैं। नेशनल न्यूज, इंटरनेशनल न्यूज और राज्य का न्यूज, सभी न्यूज के सामने बात करना चाहते हैं और बंद कमरे में नहीं, खुला मैदान में बात करना चाहते हैं। हाँ, टीम के द्वारा तो सूचना मिला है कि आज 10 बजे सर्किट हाउस में वार्ता के लिए जाएंगे। हमने तो कहा था कि बाकी जो छात्र गए थे और सरकार मान जाती तो और जाने की आवश्यकता नहीं था। सरकार देखिए, जाने का कौन जा रहा है, नहीं जा रहा है, 2 को जा रहा है, 5 को जा रहा है, 10 को जा रहा है, ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात नहीं है। दोनों का मांग सेम है, मांग पूरी होना चाहिए।
Welcome to the revolution. Thank you. Tech used to be thrilling, but somewhere along the way it became a boring, bloated, confusing mess. Marketers are playing games with you and your wallet. You can't trust reviews anymore. And buying a gadget is now so super confusing. That all ends today with me and this show. My name is Rajiv Makhni and this is Our Tech, the biggest, baddest zero filter show on the planet. Let's not waste a single second. Let's tell you the heat we are packing today. Apple wants you to stop buying iPhones and start renting them. Should you? Throw away your smartwatch but keep your fitness data. We'll show you how you can actually do it. Christopher Nolan just directed one of the biggest movies in the world using crazy tech. Yet he doesn't own a smartphone, doesn't have a laptop, doesn't have an email address. Is this a genius or is this madness? So do we even need human umpires on the field anymore? Legendary cricketer Mohammad Kaif joins me to spill the brutal truth. We review the world's smallest iPhone that costs just 3,000 rupees. Is it a steal of the century or a complete certified scam? Plus we'll review a 3 crore smartphone. Yes, you heard that right. 3 crores. Also on the show is the world's thinnest power bank and a home ice cream maker that absolutely destroys that store-bought ice cream, and a massive reality check for all of us. 99.9% of all of you, including me, we are charging our phones completely wrong, and we're going to fix that today. So much to do, so little time. Let's hit it. Every tech brand promises to change the world. Most of them are just trying to change the size of your wallet. Welcome to Hype Autopsy, where we decode and analyze every tech headline and tell you the actual truth. Let's start with headline number 1. Apple doesn't want to sell you an iPhone anymore. Yes, can you believe that? Remember when buying an iPhone was very simple? You just sold your home, your kidney, your soul, and the phone was yours. Not anymore. Now Apple wants you to lease a phone that isn't even yours at the end of the day. This is called Apple Upgrade. It's a landlord system for your pocket. Apple has partnered with Klarna in the US to let customers lease iPhones, iPad, Macs and Apple Watches. Now let's run the cold hard math to see if this is a better way of owning Apple products. Let's take an iPhone 17, 256GB, price tag in India about 82,900 rupees. Now you would usually buy it on a no-cost EMI. You will pay this much a month for 24 months. At the end, the phone is 100% yours. A 2-year-old iPhone retains about 40 to 45% of its resale value in India. You sell it, get back roughly 38 to 40,000 rupees, bringing your effective cost of ownership to around 47 to 50,000 rupees over 2 years. Simple stuff. Option 2, the Apple lease. They want you to pay this much in US dollars a month, which is about 2,191 rupees on a 24-month lease. Over 2 years, you will pay about 52,000 rupees. At the end of the 2 years, you have to return the phone. Yeah, obviously, you're renting it, right? So you can upgrade or pay a buyout price to keep it. So what's the big difference? Well, if you lease it, you're paying about 3,000 to 5,000 rupees more than if you just buy it outright. It's great for businesses who want to write off the lease fee completely, but for all others, does it make sense? Look, the math doesn't lie, but the choice is yours. If this scheme actually comes to India, are you buying outright, hitting the no-cost EMI, or renting your tech? I'd love to know your thoughts. All of you, please let me know. Now, speaking of choices, what if you could get all the fitness data of a smartwatch without ever wearing one? Impossible? No, it's here. I'll tell you how. What if the smartest part of your watch isn't the watch? Tech companies have spent billions trying to reinvent the watch. X-Band just skipped the watch entirely and reinvented the strap. This is called X-Band. It's a Kickstarter project right now that turns your ordinary watch strap into a full-fledged health tracker. Not a smartwatch, not a smart ring. The sensors are baked right into the clasp of a rubber watch strap. You keep wearing your Rolex, your Omega, your trusty Casio, and the strap does the heavy lifting, syncing everything to your phone. Concept is brilliant, as lots of people do want to keep wearing their beautifully crafted mechanical watches, and Kickstarter agrees. They've been able to raise about 10 times their funding goal already. Yeah, cool. But before we call it the future, let's talk reality. Here are 3 massive roadblocks. Number 1, compatibility. There are around 40-50 different way brands fit straps to watches, so good luck making one size fits all. 2 is aesthetics. High-end watches are defined by their bespoke straps. Nobody is swapping a premium leather or metal beautiful strap for rubber just to count their steps. Number 3 is the price. At almost 28,000 rupees, I could strap a Fitbit Air or an Amazfit Helio band at 1/3 the price on my bicep and still wear my classic watch. So X-Band, killer pitch, great idea, but the execution needs a reality check. Time now to separate the heavyweights from the paperweights. Welcome to our main event, the verdict, where we review a game-changing device and I'll tell you the real truth behind it. I am about to shock you. I hold in my hand the world's smallest, cheapest iPhone. No, not this one. This one. Can you imagine the size? It's this. Look at the size. I bought this in China for exactly 3,000 rupees. Yes, 3,000 rupees. Now, obviously, Apple didn't make this, but the underground engineers who did have pulled off some crazy innovation with this one. And in the next minute or so, I will tell you all these things about this phone, including, of course, the most important, should you buy it or not? Let's break it down. Now, the box is quite cheap looking. You get an IMEI sticker, some barcodes, a Type-C cable. Not a premium unboxing, but for 3,000 rupees, it's not a tragedy either. Now, the design, flat edges, matte finish, metal body. It's crazy small, crazy thin, and crazy light. I mean, look at the difference here. This is how small it is. They squeezed a pro-style triple camera layout into a tiny 4-inch body. More about that triple camera soon. And the terrifying part, from a distance, I mean, see, if I actually show it to you from here, and I hold this from here, it actually looks completely real, just smaller. Let's move to the features and cameras. I found the camera control button, pressed it, and it actually works. Someone put serious sweat into copying this right. And then I turned this phone on and the illusion died. The wallpaper screams iOS, but the soul is 100% Android. It's a basic Android phone playing dress up. And these 3 cameras, they're a certified joke. 2 of them are pure decoration. There is no camera or sensor behind those lenses. Only one main 5-megapixel shooter that actually takes the photos and videos. Now, the app promises live focus, slow motion, super slow motion. They actually work. But the quality throws you back to the 2010. That's terrible. Moving on to performance. Under the hood, 3 GB of RAM, 16 GB of storage, running a stripped down Android build. Surprisingly, the basics actually work. Calls, WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube, dual SIM, Type-C charging, and it has a 2000 mAh battery. And the price? Just 3,000 rupees. That is the mic drop moment. Yeah, 3,000. Now, what I like, the audacity of this, the size of this, the sheer effort to innovate on a budget, the attention to detail is actually commendable. What I didn't like, the user experience is a complete nightmare. The screen is too tiny to be useful. The camera software and performance is painfully slow and pokey. Final advice, should you buy this as your daily driver? Absolutely not. But as a backup phone, you're going out in the evening, you want something small, perfect. A collector's item, perfect. Or the greatest conversation starter in your pocket, absolutely. For 3,000, this is pure entertainment. Buy it for the fun value and nothing else. Now, from the world's smallest fake iPhone to the world's thinnest real power bank, some gadgets earn their price tag, others belong in the trash. It's time for great or garbage. Over to Ronak in our R-Tech labs.
Is this the most gorgeous power bank on earth or just an overpriced block of aluminium? See, I've spent 2 weeks with the world's thinnest power bank, the Xiaomi power bank, to find out.
And Ronak, don't hold back, yeah. You have to also tell us it's actually worth buying or not.
Oh, I will, and a lot more of these. Let's look at the material, the finish. Satin aluminium, a sleek, beautiful color. It feels undeniably premium. One of the best looking power banks I've ever held. And look at the thinness, 6 millimeters. This is the thickness of 3 credit cards stacked up. It weighs under 100 grams and you can snap it on your phone, slide it in your pocket or hide it in your wallet. It barely adds any bulk.
You know, I can vouch for that. I took it to London and literally disappears in your pocket.
Exactly. It's ridiculously tiny. Let's look at the specs and features. It packs 5000 mAh battery.
But wait. Is it actually a true 5000 mAh power bank or is it just marketing fluff?
It's true. I tested it across multiple devices. It has strong MagSafe magnets that lock onto your phone perfectly and claims 15-watt magnetic wireless charging. On paper, it sounds flawless, but there's always a catch. It costs about 4,500 rupees for a 5000 mAh battery. That is highway robbery. The part that I like, it looks like a concept lab prototype. The aluminium body and the portability are top tier. What I didn't like, the charging speed is a massive compromise. Xiaomi rates it's a 15 watt, but in the real world, it crawls. Almost every phone I tested took longer than expected. It's great for a slow top up, but if your phone is dead and you need juice fast, this will leave you stranded. For 4,500 rupees, that hurts. See, my final advice, if you're buying it for the aesthetics, it's awesome. But if you need actual fast charging, skip it. For me, it's a do not buy.
So the world's thinnest power bank gets a brutal rejection. Proof that good looks don't always guarantee good performance. Sorry, Karina. It's time now to step into the inferno, the hottest controversies in tech stripped down to the bone. Welcome to the firewall. Let's collide two of my favorite things, tech and cricket. Now, technology has taken over the pitch. Third umpires are using state-of-the-art technology to make literally every real decision. So do we even need human umpires sweating on the field anymore? I cornered cricket legend Mohammad Kaif to get the brutal truth.
अभी मैं देखता हूँ अंपायर्स ना थोड़ा सेफ भी खेलते हैं. सेफ इन द सेंस कि उसको पता है अगर मान लो मैंने यहाँ आउट दे दिया और DRS का इस्तेमाल हुआ और ऊपर थर्ड अंपायर चेक करेगा, उसके पास तो पूरा एंगल है, कैमरा है, स्लो मोशन में चेक करके, तो अंपायर के ऊपर प्रेशर तो आ गया, पर इससे ये फ़ायदा हो गया कि चाहे गेम स्लो हो गया हो पर राइट डिसीजन आ रहा है. 100% फुल प्रूफ अभी भी नहीं है, पर मैं अगर कंपेयर करो हमारे एरा से अभी जो क्रिकेट जिस तरह से आगे बढ़ा है, उसमें क्या हो गया कि पहले तो बहुत ही बेकार अंपायरिंग थी. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अब 99% करेक्ट निर्णय आता है. उसके बाद भी बहुत सारे हम डिबेट देखते हैं, वाइड कॉल गलत हो गई, ये हो गया. आजकल सोशल मीडिया का ज़माना है, एक हल्का सा आपने गलत कॉल ले ली तो पूरा दुनिया जान जाती है. अरे ये देखो वो धोनी के फ़ैन बैठे हैं, वो डाल देंगे, रोहित शर्मा के अलग फ़ैन बैठे हैं. एक तो मुझे आज तक ये समझ नहीं आया कि ये हिंदुस्तान के प्लेयर हैं पर फ़ैन क्यों बटे हुए हैं. ये धोनी का फ़ैन है, ये विराट का ग्रुप है, ये रोहित शर्मा का ग्रुप है. भाइयों साथ में आ जाओ यार, हिंदुस्तान के प्लेयर हैं. बहरहाल तो वो कहने का कंट्रोवर्सी तो हो जाती है हर साल. एक विराट कोहली का देखा होगा आपने, वो जो हर्षित राणा का एक था यहाँ, उसने कुछ ऊपर हाइट की बॉल थी और कुछ खेला, शायद कॉटन बोल्ड हो गया, अंपायर ने आउट दे दिया, तो बड़ी कंट्रोवर्सी हुई कि अरे इतनी हाइट की बॉल थी, तो नो बॉल थी. तो ये सब तो रहेगा, वो क्योंकि वो टेक्नोलॉजी है, वो कहीं ना कहीं 19-20 रहेगा. 100% तो नहीं है, क्योंकि आप एक तो कैमरे का एंगल देखो ना. आप जो मैं यहाँ कैमरे से ही बात कर रहा हूँ, ये सामने इस लेवल पे भी है ना, जहाँ कैमरा लगा इस लेवल पे है, पर वो जो कैमरे होते हैं वो हाइट पे होते हैं, वहाँ से वो गेम फॉलो कर रहा होता है. 2 वाइड कैमरे होते हैं, वहाँ से गेम फॉलो कर रहा है, तो वो एंगल ही गलत है ना. तो 100% जो हॉकाई हो गई होती है वो 100% एक्यूरेट तो नहीं होती, पर 99 पॉइंट तक तो आप जोड़ लो कि वो एक्यूरेट है, पर 100% नहीं है.
Wow, now that was a real no-hold-barred conversation. Thanks, Kev, for being so truthful. And I promise you, every guest that will join me out here will be as truthful. Now we're shifting into hyperdrive. 2 product reviews, 45 seconds each, no mercy, start the engine and the clock. This is hyperspeed. This is a machine that makes professional ice cream in seconds, but can an Indian brand dethrone the viral Ninja Creamy? I'll tell you what we liked. A savage 1800 RPM descending blade that obliterates frozen ingredients into incredibly creamy ice cream. 6 modes: ice cream, gelato, sorbet, frozen yogurt, milkshake, soft serve. You control the ingredients, no hidden sugar, no junk. And remember, it's an Indian brand, yeah. Now what we didn't like, you have to freeze the mix for 24 agonizing hours first. Kaun wait karega, right? And it sounds like a jet engine in your kitchen. It is very, very loud. Final verdict at about 24,000 rupees. It's not cheap, but it matches the Ninja Creamy for almost half the price. If you want healthy, elite level, super creamy desserts at home, this is an easy buy. We all love it. And speaking of love, let's move on now to a foldable phone that costs around 3 crore rupees. Review is with Dev.
Yes, Rajiv, 3 crores. That is the price of the Vertu Alpha Fold. And they claim that this is your ultimate CEO assistant. What I liked is that this has the Snapdragon 8 Elite, a foldable display and a titanium body, and a hardcore AI system that is built to crush enterprises tasks. And the price starts at 9 lakh rupees. You can add custom leather, 18 karat gold and diamonds as well. And you can easily drop anywhere between 1 to 3 crores. Diamonds belong on jewelries, not on a phone. So my verdict is very simple. Skip this one.
Good advice, because spending 3 crores on a phone, unless that phone transforms into a Ferrari or a private jet at the press of a button, I am keeping my money. Okay, enough of what I think. It's time for you to roast me now. Welcome to the help desk. This is where my ego goes to die. You all viewers notice everything. A wrinkle on my shirt, a stray hair, a single frame out of focus. Nothing escapes your killer view. And I love it. Bring on the brickbats or the bouquet. So the first comment is from Ankita, who said, Rajiv, why do you always wear black t-shirts? Is your designer that bad? Ankita, I saw this coming. Which is exactly why I'm not wearing a black t-shirt today. My designers are brilliant, but here's the truth. The gadget is the star of this show or any show, not my wardrobe, not me. It's the Steve Jobs rule, no decision fatigue. So Lalit was the next comment, and he said, Rajiv, you showed us a tiny handheld blower. This is the one he's talking about. And he's asking, can I actually use it as a portable hairdryer to carry with me? Lalit, now that is real out-of-the-box thinking. Now this is called the Mini Turbo Wind Blower. This tiny beast blasts air at 100 miles per hour. I'll show you some actual things on tape also, but here, that's that box of that phone. Let me just show you, because you all are going to be absolutely amazed. It is super powerful. So it absolutely blows off dust from keyboards, computers, camera lenses. It can help you dust behind TVs, those wires that are behind TVs, any hard to reach area. It can even clean a carpet or a sofa, but it will take a lot of time. Now, as per the question, we tested it as the world's cheapest portable hairdryer. It has no wires, it's battery powered, very easy to carry anywhere, insane wind. But of course, it doesn't have any heat, right? So if you want a wind-blown aesthetic, go for it. But don't expect a styling tool. Now, what we liked in this is this tiny size and this psychopathic airflow. What I don't like is it's loud and the plastic feels a little cheap. Final advice, watch your back when buying this. The market is flooded with identical fakes that look just like this but couldn't even blow a feather away. Get the real deal. Now, you don't want to just use your tech. You want to master it. Welcome to our cheat code tips and tricks section. This is called God mode. The first one is circle to search. You'll be like, "Arey, I know that." No, you don't. It's way smarter than you think. Circle to search is not just a shopping tool. See a sneaker, circle it, buy it, ye sab karte hain. That's cool. But you are playing checkers while Google is playing chess. Let's take this 10 levels up. You get a panic-inducing text, your bank account is blocked or something like that. Most people click it and ruin their lives. Don't. Just circle to search the text itself. Google AI cross-references massive scam databases across the world, flags suspicious language, and exposes the trap right there and then. And it does a lot more if you're traveling. Circle a foreign menu for an instant translation. Spot a cool gadget in a YouTube video, circle it. Stuck in a game puzzle, circle it. It's the most lethal AI tool hiding in plain sight on Android. And now for our cheat code number 2. 2, where we're going to go to Ronak, because Ronak is claiming that 99% of all of us, including me, we are murdering our phone batteries by charging them wrong. 99%, Ronak? Okay, over to you.
Yes, 99.9% of you all plug your phones near 0% and charge it straight to 100%, right? Stop it, it's terrible for your device. Your battery is full of chemicals that hate being totally empty or totally full. That's why when you plug in your phones and the chemicals react, your battery overheats at extremes. And phones and batteries hate heat. Keep your battery between 20% and 80% to vastly reduce wear and tear over time. It will even get your battery to last an extra 2 to 3 years. It takes under 1 minute to enable and your battery will thank you for years.
Okay, phenomenal advice, Ronak. Stop torturing your batteries, people. And speaking of phenomenal, from all of us doing things wrong, let's go to someone who may be the only one doing something right in our section called Viral Velocity. The most exciting tech news isn't AI. It isn't some brand slapping the word ultra on a box. It's a movie. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is absolutely on fire. People are already crowning it the greatest movie ever made. Some exaggeration there. It is officially the first feature shot entirely on IMAX film camera. Sounds cool until you realize how insanely hard that is to do. These cameras are massive, backbreakingly heavy, and terrifyingly expensive, and they chew through film at a terrifying rate. Filmmakers abandoned them for cheap, easy digital cameras and CGI and AI. And viewers have absolutely loved what Nolan did. Most IMAX shows worldwide are sold out. People want to come and see it in theaters only. And Nolan is forcing the industry back, asking it to rethink and proving that human craft still matters. But the ultimate shock is that the man directing this billion-dollar epic with this awesome technology doesn't own a smartphone, he doesn't own a laptop, he doesn't even have his own email ID. How does he run a massive production in a hyper-connected world? Well, his answer, landline, assistants, his producing partner, his wife Emma Thomas, that's his system. And today that sounds impossible, right? But for Nolan, that is the entire point. Because smartphones don't just feed you info. They fracture your focus and destroy your flow state. Now, Nolan knows that attention is the most expensive currency on earth. He writes his script on an offline computer, nothing to disturb him. He bans phones on his sets. His actors aren't allowed to consume any video like Instagram or YouTube on the set. His philosophy, live in the world you're creating. Don't do that 1 second and then swipe through cat videos on YouTube next. I want you all to try it also. Ditch your phone for 1 hour a day. Embrace that boredom, because boredom is the birthplace of true brilliance. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap on Our Tech with me, Rajiv Makhni, episode 1. But we are bursting at the seams with what we have for you next week. Are Ray-Ban Metas the ultimate camera just hiding on your face? Are they better than camera phones? We test them to the limit. A laptop so ridiculously thin, so light that we thought it was actually empty inside. Truly defies physics, but can it actually perform, or is it just beautiful? And look at these two boxes. I can't even show you what's inside, but it will blow your mind. Plus, a gadget so controversial has been given to us that it almost tore our editorial team apart. We also sit down with the mafia don of the Indian smartphone retail industry. This is the man who controls millions of mom and pop tech shops all over the country. More gadgets, more brutal debates, more tests, more brands claiming they've changed the world, and more me telling you if they are really telling you the truth or lying. No marketing, no fluff, just the brutal, unapologetic truth. Our Tech Truth. I'm Rajiv Makhni. See you next week. Until then, stay curious, be aware, not influenced, and remember, never trust a product review unless you've seen it right here.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals. Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy and every day.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
यानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला। चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट।
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चंकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
চিনাকি কৰাই দিবা। পানী বাঢ়িছে নে কমিছে? পানী বাঢ়ি আছে।
The mountains may have remained the same, but the journey certainly did not. On day 5, Hero Tiranga Trails and Gunner's Ladakh Odyssey retraced its path from Khalsar across the iconic Khardungla before concluding the day's ride in Karo, adding another meaningful chapter to this commemorative expedition.
For the people who are in uniform, especially for me who spent about 28 years of my service in the Indian Armed Forces, this journey is a tribute to all the people who have laid down their lives defending this landscape. Every inch of this land defines the movement of courage, valor they have shown on the battleground. So my message to the younger generation is, come see this area, see the armed forces, join the armed forces. It is the best you can do for the country.
Beginning from Khalsar, once an important caravan halt on the ancient Silk Route, the expedition once again climbed towards Khardungla. At Khardungla top, one of Himalaya's most iconic mountain passes, the expedition paused for conversations with fellow travelers, riders and Major General Arvind Yadav, Vishisht Seva Medal, ADG and Colonel Commandant of the Regiment of Artillery, bringing together 20 Jawans, officers, JCOs and serving soldiers. The expedition continues as a shared tribute to the enduring legacy of the Regiment of Artillery. Khardungla, whose name translates to the pass of the castle face, has inspired generations of riders and remains one of the Himalayas' most celebrated mountain passes. The day concluded in Karo, regarded as the gateway to eastern Ladakh and located close to landmarks such as Tiksi Monastery, Shea Palace and Hemis Monastery.
I feel very honored and it feels an immense pleasure seeing the harsh terrain and how these brave hearts have fought in these harsh conditions and defeated the enemy. Biking in Ladakh is a dream for everybody. The second thing, retracing all the steps, all the history and all the memorials, visiting all the memorials, getting to know what the things have done in the past. It feels like a dream come true.
As Hero Tiranga Trails and Gunners Ladakh Odyssey prepares to continue towards Chushul, the journey moves forward with one purpose: to honor the enduring legacy of the Regiment of Artillery and India's Shaheed soldiers.
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो,
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे। बड़े बड़े इम्तिहानों से गुजरता है, वक्त तराशता है जिसे, तो जाने क्या क्या न करता है। जब तक खुशबू सबसे बेहतरीन न बन जाए, आराम के लिए नहीं ठहरता है। जब तक लाजवाब न बन जाए, उसे नहीं इत्मीनान है। तभी तो रिचमंड बनना नहीं आसान है।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ, स्वाद आया? आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
और निश्चित रूप से
तबीयत तो दादा कल जब डॉक्टर आए हैं तो शुगर बीपी सब लो हो गया है और जो है सो डॉक्टर बोल रहे हैं पानी लीजिए। लेकिन हमें लगता है कि अब इस राज्य के लिए, इस मुल्क के लिए हम अपने आप को त्याग कर दें, अपने जान को, अपने जिस्म को।
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hi there, welcome to this Sunday 7 p.m. special edition in which we are going to focus on protests in Jharkhand which have hit a still some action in the eye of the storm. There have been 3 resignations there. That's going to be our important breaking, but let's begin with the headlines.
Headlines brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Athletes from the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow arrive and meet Prime Minister Modi at his residence. The big question over the mishap in Air India Phuket-Delhi flight that injured 17 passengers. Did the pilot fail the dope test? Air India obfuscates, says that pilot's dope test report not shared with them. The biggest interview on the FCRA, Harish Salve explains the changes in the new FCRA amendment law being brought by the government in Parliament next week.
See, I'll tell you, the focus of this bill is not proselytizing. Again, what is it? The focus of this bill is exposing, giving sunlight on what you are up to and what we really need to prevent. Proselytizing is a very small part of the big picture.
The biggest interview on the FCRA, Harish Salve explains the changes in the new law being brought in by the government in Parliament next week. Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren assures strict action will be taken against the culprits involved in the paper leaks. Public anger against Mamata continues in Bengal. Angry crowd throws mud at her vehicle on a visit to North 24 Parganas. All right, let's begin with the breaking that we promised. Coming in from Ranchi, where 3 members of the Jharkhand Public Service Commission, the body in the eye of the storm where students are protesting against the corruption prevailing in the organization. 3 members of the JPSC have tendered their resignations to Governor Santosh Kumar Gangwar, who has accepted the same. The resignations of Ajita Bhattacharya, Anima Hasda and Jamal Ahmed from their respective posts as members of the Jharkhand Public Service Commission have been accepted, and the resignations come in the light of recommendations made by the state government, which means that they have effectively been sacked. The statement comes from the Jharkhand Lok Bhavan, and the Jharkhand Police CID has issued summons to all 3 members for questioning, which means fast-paced developments there. Seems like the Hemant Soren government wants to signal that it is listening. Okay, we'll come back to this story just in a bit, but we are getting pictures of Prime Minister Modi meeting the athletes, the Commonwealth Games heroes who returned to the country and met the Prime Minister a while back. And these pictures, this is a group photo op that they had with PM at his residence. These are sporting heroes who have brought laurels to the country, who have brought glory. Let's listen to the Nats.
श्री चौधरी, आज हम सब कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स मेडलिस्ट को हमारे ऑनरेबल पीएम सर ने बुलाया है और हमें बहुत ही प्राउड फील हो रहा है इस बात पर. हमें इनसे मिलके बहुत ही अच्छा लगा. ये बहुत ही हम्बल है. सर आप कुछ बोले.
जो खेलेगा वो खिलेगा. ऑलवेज चीयर फॉर भारत. भारत माता की जय. भारत माता की जय. भारत माता की जय.
सब कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स मेडलिस्ट को हमारे ऑनरेबल पीएम सर ने बुलाया है और हमें बहुत ही प्राउड फील हो रहा है इस बात पर. हमें इनसे मिलके बहुत ही अच्छा लगा. ये बहुत ही हम्बल है. सर आप कुछ बोले.
जो खेलेगा वो खिलेगा. ऑलवेज चीयर फॉर भारत. भारत माता की जय. भारत माता की जय. भारत माता की जय.
हेलो.
Yeah, all right. So essentially, Prime Minister there, जो खेलेगा वो खेलेगा. Prime Minister's message while interacting with the Commonwealth Games heroes who came and met the Prime Minister. And with that, we move on to our breaking news that we had brought in 3 members of the Jharkhand Public Service Commission have resigned, effectively being sacked because this has happened at the recommendation of the state government. And as if on cue, the CID, or the police that's investigating the JPSC corruption, have summoned those 3 bureaucrats. In fact, Sagar is joining us live for more on this. Sagar, 3 resignations from the Jharkhand Public Service Commission. What was the role of Ajita Bhattacharya, Anima Hasda and Jamal Ahmed? ये जिन 3 लोगों ने रिजाइन किया है, सागर, इनका क्या रोल था? क्या स्टूडेंट्स की जो डिमांड है उसमें ये रेजिग्नेशन करवाना शामिल था और क्या इसका असर पड़ेगा स्टूडेंट प्रोटेस्ट कम होने में?
देखिए, बिल्कुल अभिषेक, अगर हम बात करें तो इस पूरे मामले में कई जगहों पर लापरवाही पाई गई. सरकार से जब लगातार छात्र बातचीत करने के लिए अड़े थे तो ऐसा लगा कि सरकार अब चारों तरफा घिरी हुई है. इसीलिए लग रहा है कि जो भी दागदार अधिकारी रहे थे, जो लोग इसमें शामिल रहे थे, जिन लोगों में पाया गया कि इनकी संलिप्तता रही है इस पूरी धांधली में, तो ऐसे लोगों को हटाया जा रहा है. क्योंकि इसके पहले भी जब जांच हो रही थी तो इस जांच कमेटी को पूरा हटा दिया गया जिनके पास कुछ तथ्य थे. लेकिन अब देखिए, छात्र और सरकार की जब वार्ता हुई है उसके बाद भी कई बड़े अपडेट अब सामने आए, क्योंकि ये लगभग अब तय हो चुका है कि अभी छात्रों का आंदोलन जारी रहेगा. कल के दिन विधानसभा का घेराव भी होना है. तो ऐसे में 3 लोगों के रेजिग्नेशन से अब आंदोलन पर तो नहीं लगता है कि कोई फर्क पड़ने वाला है, क्योंकि सीबीआई जांच पर बात नहीं बन पाई आज के दिन. जेएसएससी और सीजीएल को रद्द करने पर सहमति नहीं बन पाई. छात्र डेलीगेशन जाकर छात्रों से जो है अब आगे देखिए बात भी वो करेंगे, आंदोलन जारी रखेंगे, उन्होंने ये भी कहा. लेकिन मंत्री सुदीप कुमार सोनू ने कहा है कि जेएससी और सीजीएल की परीक्षा रद्द नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि परीक्षा हाईकोर्ट और सुप्रीम कोर्ट की निगरानी में ली गई है, ऐसा उनकी तरफ से देखिए बताया गया. लेकिन छात्र ये कह रहे हैं कि इसी में तो धांधली पूरी तरह से की गई है, इसीलिए इसको रद्द करना बेहद जरूरी है. क्योंकि सरकार का तर्क है कि इसको रद्द करने का अधिकार क्षमता इस स्तर पर नहीं है, मामला हाईकोर्ट में है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के संज्ञान में जा चुका है, नियुक्तियां ऐसी हैं, अभ्यर्थी नौकरी में जा चुके हैं. लेकिन सवाल छात्रों का वही है, जो नौकरी में गए हैं वो धांधली के जरिए नौकरी पाए. कई छात्रों ने आकर वो पुख्ता सबूत भी दिखाया कि कैसे हरियाणा के रहने वाले हैं, 1-2 गैंगस्टर हैं जिन्हें नौकरियां मिल गई है यहाँ झारखंड के अंदर. तो जब उन तथ्यों को छात्रों ने यहाँ पर रखा, इसके बावजूद अगर इन परीक्षाओं को रद्द नहीं किया जाएगा तो शायद देखिए सरकार के लिए और भी चुनौती खड़ी होगी. और कल जब विधानसभा का घेराव होना है, क्योंकि आज जब दिन भर हमने देखा लगभग लाखों की संख्या में कल छात्र रहने वाले हैं झारखंड की सड़कों पर.
सागर,
क्योंकि हम हजारीबाग की बात करें, कई जिलों से देखिए अभिषेक, लगभग हजारों छात्र आज के दिन एकत्रित हो चुके हैं जयपाल सिंह मुंडा स्टेडियम में.
सागर, अगर ये इस्तीफे जो हुए हैं, सरकार इससे अगर ये दिखाना चाहती है कि वो सजग है और छात्रों की बातों को सुन रही है और तीसरे राउंड की बात हुई है, उसके बाद मुख्यमंत्री ने एक वक्तव्य भी दिया है, तो क्या हम समझें कि इन सबसे छात्रों के प्रोटेस्ट पे कोई असर नहीं पड़ रहा और वो चाहते हैं कि पूरे तरीके से इस मामले को सुलझाया जाए तभी वो अपना आंदोलन वापस लेंगे?
देखिए, बिल्कुल, ये जो 3 इस्तीफे हुए हैं, अगर इस छात्रों का इससे कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, अगर ये वाकई में लग रहा है सरकार के दबाव से, तो ये भी छात्रों के साथ बेईमानी हो रही है. छात्र ये कह भी चुके हैं कि इन इस्तीफों के बाद से जो आज मांगे नहीं मानी गई, लगभग 12 बजे से लगा 6 बजे तक छात्रों को अंदर रखा गया स्टेट हॉल में. वहां पर बातचीत उनकी होती रही, लेकिन बातचीत लगातार बेनतीजा, इसके पहले भी 2 बार और रह चुकी है. आज भी सरकार ऐसा लगा कि इनकी मांगों को मानेगी, विधानसभा का घेराव कल के दिन होना उसको रोक पाएगी. लेकिन छात्रों की जो शर्तें हैं वो जायज हैं, जो मांगे हैं वो जायज है. सरकार अड़ी हुई है कि नहीं, हम इन मांगों को नहीं मान सकते, क्योंकि ये सरकार भी जान रही है कि हाँ, इसमें धांधली गड़बड़ियां हुई हैं. अगर वाकई में देखिए अभिषेक, इस पर से पर्दा हटेगा तो कई बड़े चेहरे और नाम सामने आएंगे जिन लोगों ने धांधली की है और करोड़ों रुपए कमाए हैं.
ओके, चलिए, तो आंदोलन जारी है, which means that the stalemate continues insofar as Jharkhand student protests are concerned. These resignations not making a difference, as our reporter Sagar Mishra informed us on the phone line there. And we'll come back with more on this story once we get one of those student leaders live with us in a bit. But moving on for now, on to another very major story which has been in the newsreel all day, which is that the pilots of Air India flight from Phuket to Delhi a few days back, which met turbulence have in fact tested positive for dope test according to some media reports. And now Ministry of Civil Aviation coming out with a statement saying that the occurrence on the flight from Phuket to Delhi has been classified as a serious incident under investigation by the AAIB, which is Aircraft Accidents Investigation Bureau. Flight crew members have been taken off roster by the DGCA pending investigation and the confirmatory test results, with further action to follow based on the outcomes. The Ministry of Civil Aviation and the DGCA remain committed to the highest standards of aviation safety, goes the statement. In fact, we have Ishan joining us live for more on this. Ishan, we are yet to have a confirmatory comment coming in from Air India on whether these pilots on their roster have tested positive for a dope test, as media reports suggest. But the fact that on a Sunday, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has come out with a statement shows that obviously there is something in the matter which is being looked at and so seriously taken that it's being investigated by the AAIB, the Aircraft Accidents Investigation Bureau.
Absolutely, Abhishek. The occurrence has been classified as a serious incident and is being investigated by the AAIB. And as part of the standard procedures, after such flights, both crew members and the pilots underwent prescribed psychotropic substance screening test. Now, this screening test has given a concerning result because the screening test of the pilot in command indicated a result requiring confirmatory testing. Now, this is not a 100% positive confirmation to the fact that he had substances inside him, but the samples have now been sent to a designated laboratory for confirmatory analysis. The final report is awaited. Pending investigation and completion of the prescribed process, both flight crew members have been taken off by the roster by the DGCA, and as appropriate action has also been taken. So now this entire incident is being investigated by the AIB, and we are waiting for these results, because this could be a very serious fault if the test results for the pilot in command come back to be positive. Back to you, Abhishek.
All right, thank you so much, Ishan, with those details. We are not letting go of this story. In fact, come Monday, and we would follow up on the Air India view on what is the status of their pilots. So the DGCA, through the Ministry of Civil Aviation, saying that they have been taken off the roster. But then what about the test? Were they intoxicated in any manner? Did they fail the dope test? And was it in any manner connected with the turbulence that the flight met with, or the manner in which the turbulence was dealt with by the crew there on that flight, which left 17, including 4 crew members, injured? And many of those passengers have come out and spoken of how they were not treated well. Air India to respond. Moving on, and we are in fact coming back to the Jharkhand story. In fact, we have our student leader joining us live now. We have had a delegation meeting the government, a 5-hour-long marathon meeting. Even as this strike continues, we have this student leader, Radhe Kumar, joining us live. And Radhe Kumar, आप बताएं कि ये जो आपकी तीसरे राउंड की वार्ता हुई है सरकार के साथ, उसके बाद भी प्रोटेस्ट वापस नहीं हो रहा है। सुन रहे हैं कि कल झारखंड विधानसभा के बाहर और ज़्यादा प्रदर्शन होगा, तो क्यों आपको ये अपना आंदोलन जारी रखना पड़ रहा है?
सर, हमारी जो मांग है पूरा नहीं होगा तो आंदोलन जारी रहेगा। हमारे मांग को पूरा नहीं की जा रही है। हम सरकार से रिक्वेस्ट किए कि हमारी मांग को पूरा कीजिए, वरना हम लोग को कल 10 तारीख है तो झारखंड तमाम छात्रों को आह्वान कर दिए हैं कि लाखों लाख छात्र छात्रा, माई बहन भाई जितने भी हैं, 9:30 बजे पुराना विधानसभा एकत्रित होने के हम लोग आमंत्रित किए हैं। और मैं आपको बता देना चाहता हूँ, इस सरकार जो है मान नहीं रही है। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि सरकार कितना नहीं चलेगी, ये तानाशाह हो गई है। इनसे हम लोग आग्रह भी किए कि जो हम लोग को जो मांग है, मांग को पूरा कीजिए, लेकिन मांग पूरा नहीं कर रहे हैं। तो मांग पूरा जब नहीं हुआ तो धरना जारी रहेगा, और कल विधानसभा घेराव है 9:30 बजे।
राधे कुमार जी, हमने देखा किस तरह से अभी हमने खबर ब्रेक करी है कि 3 सदस्य जो जेपीएससी के हैं, झारखंड पब्लिक सर्विस कमीशन के, उन्होंने इस्तीफा दे दिया है और पुलिस ने उनको समन किया है, बुलाया है तफ्तीश के लिए। और जो हेमंत सोरेन है मुख्यमंत्री, उन्होंने भी बोला है कि हम विद्यार्थियों की सारी बातों को सुनेंगे। तो क्या वो नहीं सुन रहे हैं कहने के बाद भी?
सर 3 बार वार्ता हो चुका, लेकिन 3 बार कहाँ सुने? वार्ता तो 3 बार हो चुका, नहीं सुने नहीं है, इसलिए प्रोटेस्ट जारी है। और कल जो है लाखों लाख छात्र हम लोग विधानसभा घेरेंगे। यदि सरकार मान जाती है आज, तो हो सकता था कि प्रोटेस्ट हम लोग समाप्त कर देते, लेकिन ये प्रोटेस्ट जारी रहेगा।
आपकी ऐसी क्या 2 मांगे हैं जिनको अगर सरकार मान ले तो आप ये प्रोटेस्ट रोक देंगे? क्या ऐसी 2 मांगे हैं आपकी?
सीजीएल को रद्द करना और डीपीएल कंपनी द्वारा जो एग्जाम लिया गया है उसको रद्द करना, सीबीआई जांच करना। तो सीबीआई जांच करना, ईडी से जांच करना सरकार नहीं चाहती है, न रद्द करना चाहती है। इसलिए हम लोग चाहते हैं जो भी पेपर लीक हुआ है उसमें ईडी जांच हो और सीबीआई जांच हो।
इतनी छोटी सी बात को सरकार नहीं मान रही है?
नहीं मान रही है।
और तो आपने 5 घंटे आज क्या बात हुई फिर? इस छोटी सी बात के लिए 5 घंटे लगे आज बात करने में?
वही तो बात है सर, बात तो छोटी है लेकिन उनको बड़ी लग रही है। बात छोटा है लेकिन उनको बड़ा लग रहा है। उनसे हम आग्रह करते हैं अभी भी, जो हम लोग को बात है पुनः मान ले कि छात्र की बात है, झारखंड के युवाओं की बात है।
चलिए,
और
तो
झारखंड छात्रों का अधिकारों की बात है।
बिल्कुल। तो यानी कल आपका ये आंदोलन जारी रहेगा और हम तस्वीरें दिखाएंगे देश को, क्योंकि जिस तरह से दिल्ली में एक प्रोटेस्ट हुआ,
अभी भी जयपाल स्टेडियम में लगता है 10,000 स्टूडेंट से ऊपर होगा, 10,000 छात्र से ऊपर होगा।
जी बिल्कुल, ठीक है, देखते रहिए, हम देखते रहेंगे और दर्शकों को भी दिखाते रहेंगे किस तरह से झारखंड में एक तनातनी चल रही है और सरकार जो है वो सीबीआई या ईडी के प्रोब के बारे में झुकने को तैयार नहीं है और ये आंदोलन इसलिए कल भी जारी रहेगा। थैंक यू सो मच राधे कुमार।
जनता ही जजमेंट करती है सर, जनता चुनी है,
जनता जज करेगी, जनता देख रही है। थैंक यू सो मच।
छात्र का अधिकार की बात है।
बिल्कुल, थैंक यू सो मच राधे कुमार फॉर जॉइनिंग अस एंड मूविंग ऑन to the next one. We'll keep coming back to the Jharkhand story. That's been our focus all day and is going to remain so tomorrow as the student protests intensify. But moving on, Karnataka police launched a massive crackdown on suspected illegal infiltrators in Bengaluru, most of them Bangladeshis, of course. And the operation went on across 29 locations in the Electronic City area. The police detained more than 1,900 people for document verification. So far, 15 have been identified as Bangladeshi nationals. The police now moving ahead with the process to deport them. Here are the details.
A massive crackdown on illegal infiltration is taking place in Karnataka. Bengaluru police carried out simultaneous raids across 29 locations, detaining more than 1,909 people as part of a major verification drive. The operation began on Saturday with 23 special teams and 295 police personnel deployed across the locations. Police began checking passports, visa, Aadhaar cards and other nationality-related documents. Police say the 15 identified Bangladeshi nationals are from Baghdad in Bangladesh and are suspected to have illegally entered India. They were found with fake Aadhaar cards showing West Bengal and Assam as their places of origin. The operation now moves into its next phase, with the remaining 1,894 detainees undergoing verification. With the Karnataka police saying those found to be illegal infiltrators will face further action, including deportation back to Bangladesh.
This is all we had in this bulletin. Short break coming up. On the other side, Echo Drive for your understanding of what's latest in car tech.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। मसाला
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
ऑक्टोरोमा मैनुअल वाइंडिंग, 4 लोगों के पास है ये।
कुछ इससे भी अनोखा।
कमला पसंद, सिर्फ एक अनोखा स्वाद। कमला पसंद पान मसाला।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट।
अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
চিনাকি কৰাই দিবা। অফিসে আনি খালি চিকেন কষ্টি কৰাই না কা কা নখন তোমাক পানী বাইছে নে কমিছে? পানী বাকি আছে, বাহি আছে।
District Commissioners, Senior, I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this program has been.
आज हम लोग जोरहाट, शिवसागर, सरायदेव सारी बाढ़ प्रभावित जिले के अधिकारी का साथ हम लोग बैठे कैसे
The mountains may have remained the same, but the journey certainly did not. On day 5, Hero Tiranga Trails and Gunner's Ladakh Odyssey retraced its path from Khalsar across the iconic Khardungla before concluding the day's ride in Karo, adding another meaningful chapter to this commemorative expedition.
For the people who are in uniform, especially for me who spent about 28 years of my service in the Indian Armed Forces, this journey is a tribute to all the people who have laid down their lives defending this landscape. Every inch of this land defines the moment of courage, valor they have shown on the battleground. So my message to the younger generation is, come see this area, see the armed forces, join the armed forces. It is the best you can do for the country.
Beginning from Khalsar, once an important caravan halt on the ancient Silk Route, the expedition once again climbed towards Khardungla. At Khardungla top, one of Himalaya's most iconic mountain passes, the expedition paused for conversations with fellow travelers, riders and Major General Arvind Yadav, Vishisht Seva Medal, ADG and Colonel Commandant of the Regiment of Artillery,
bringing together 20 Jawans, officers, JCOs and serving soldiers. The expedition continues as a shared tribute to the enduring legacy of the Regiment of Artillery. Khardungla, whose name translates to the pass of the castle face, has inspired generations of riders and remains one of the Himalayas' most celebrated mountain passes. The day concluded in Karo, regarded as the gateway to eastern Ladakh and located close to landmarks such as Tiksi Monastery, Shea Palace and Hemis Monastery.
I feel very honored and it feels an immense pleasure seeing the harsh terrain and how these brave hearts have fought in these harsh conditions and defeated the enemy. Biking in Ladakh is a dream for everybody. The second thing, retracing all the steps, all the history and all the memorials, visiting all the memorials, getting to know what the things have done in the past. It feels like a dream come true.
As Hero Tiranga Trails and Gunners Ladakh Odyssey prepares to continue towards Chushul, the journey moves forward with one purpose: to honor the enduring legacy of the Regiment of Artillery and India's Shaheed soldiers.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट।
स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
बड़े बड़े इम्तिहानों से गुजरता है, वक्त तराशता है जिसे, तो जाने क्या क्या ना करता है। जब तक खुशबू सबसे बेहतरीन न बन जाए, आराम के लिए नहीं ठहरता है। जब तक लाजवाब न बन जाए, उसे नहीं इत्मीनान है। तभी तो रिचमंड बनना नहीं आसान है।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो।
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट।
अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Coming up on Echo Drive, Honda ZR-V, the latest SUV, is also the latest hybrid on the block. We have our review. An electric Polo and an electric Taigun, VW's Global Compact Electrics. We have an exclusive. And as always, I will answer your questions on what to buy. Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm Siddharth Pinayak Patankar. Welcome to Acco Drive. It's been yet another busy few days in the automobile industry, and you know what? It's only going to get busier still as we head towards the festive season soon. I mentioned last week how the sleeping Japanese giants have really woken up of late in India. First it was Nissan, then Honda. So that Honda ZR-V review is coming up. But first it's our top story, and I have a big surprise for you. We've talked about small EVs from Mahindra, Tata, Kia, Hyundai, but the VW group has stayed quiet. Well, now the world is waking up to the compact VW ID family, the ID Polo and its performance variant, and also the ID Cross, which is like an electric Taigun. I had the chance to drive the test prototypes of all three electrics. Here is an Acco Drive exclusive. Polo, it's a beloved nameplate in India, and this is the electric Polo or the ID Polo, the pre-series car, which is why it's all dressed up like this. And I can tell you that the excitement here in Europe around something like this is pretty huge because of what it represents. Front-wheel drive. But think of it as the electric answer to the Taigun. Same family DNA but jacked up, more butch, more SUV, more modern in its attitude. It's longer than the Polo, it sits higher, same single motor front wheel drive idea, and a range in the low 400s on the European cycle. And this is what the ID family really means. One platform, two or three very different personalities. One's a hatch, one's an SUV or a crossover, and yet you can see the shared face, the shared thinking. It's a smart bit of engineering, and many manufacturers are doing exactly the same thing. And now the production version of the car has also broken cover in Europe. Now, in terms of some of the details, etc., maybe some of that doesn't even matter to you because it's not like they're launching these cars in India anytime soon. But given the huge delay we've had, we kept hearing about the ID4 coming to India, but the huge delay with getting Volkswagen electric cars into India. And let's be honest about where things stand. There's nothing about the ID Polo or the ID Cross coming to India. No price, no date, no official word. Imagine having the electric Polo, the ID Polo. That would generate so much buzz. It would generate so much goodwill and also a lot of excitement. Polo fans would love it. The twist is 3 letters, GTI. Yes, the ID Polo GTI, 50 years after the original Golf GTI basically invented the hot hatch. VW is handing the badge to a battery-powered Polo. It's still front-wheel drive, which for a GTI is exactly right. Single motor up front, 223 horsepower, 290 Newton meters of torque, and it'll do 0 to 100 in about 6.8 seconds. So it's not really about big numbers. Polo, we love that nameplate here, right? So would you like to see an electric Polo coming back with that name to this market? Or do you think the ID Cross is more the way to go for India? Now a quick glance at the top news this week.
Tata Motors launched the new Nexon Camo Edition, which arrives in 2 exclusive colors, camo specific styling and a larger 12.3-inch touchscreen. Prices on the special edition start from 10 lakh rupees all the way up to 14 lakh rupees ex-showroom. Bajaj Auto has launched the new Pulsar N160S and SS variants, bringing major upgrades to the sports commuter. The new Pulsar N160 now comes with upgraded 165cc 4-valve engine that produces more power. The new Pulsar N60 range is priced from 1,34,000 rupees ex-showroom.
Okay, I now bring you that promised review of this new flagship from Honda. The ZR-V is Honda's second hybrid in the market now, and it aims to revive the brand's image and make it just a little bit more relevant. Now the ZR-V is a capable SUV which is fairly well loaded. It gives you 181 bhp power output, nearly 23 kilometers per litre claimed mileage, and well, really boring colors. I mean, there's 2 black options, 1 white and just 1 grey. But what else is there for you to know about this car? Samir Contractor drove it at the BIC to find out.
True Honda fans would remember the Accord and the CR-V. What fabulous cars those were. But in the last few years, Honda has been concentrating on the mass market space. Nevertheless, it's now coming back to the premium segment, and that's where the new ZR-V comes in. It's new halo product for India, fully imported, and promises to be not just a comfortable SUV, but performance friendly and efficient too, with a hybrid powertrain. Well, we are at the Bull International Circuit to find out if these attributes actually work in its favor. The new ZR-V sits between the HR-V and CR-V in Honda's global lineup. It's supposed to be the funkier, more youthful SUV with the Z inspired from Generation Z. The ZR-V looks flamboyant and is by far the most stylish offering from Honda in India. More crossover than a proper SUV. It's distinctly urban too, with the LED headlamps, blacked out grille, body-colored wheel arches and a receding roofline that gives it a coupe-like stance. While the rear design may seem dreary without a connected light bar, it's actually quite refreshing. The color palette is boring for a car with some visual panache. There are the many shades of black along with white, which stands out on a gloomy day. The new Honda ZR-V is directly imported from Japan. Yes, it is a CPU and it shares its underpinnings with the Honda Civic, a car that many of you would remember. It's based on a new generation and is underpinned by hybrid power. The model brings Honda's current generation hybrid technology, packing a powerful 2-litre Atkinson cycle engine. Yes, this is a road car and maybe the track may not be the perfect place for it, but then again, I think it gives us a good idea of what the handling and the power dynamics of the car are. On the back state now, which means we can accelerate, and the hybrid engine is known for its sporty performance, 181 bhp, 350 Nm of peak torque, and a good flat track is what you need to accelerate all the way. This is a rev-happy engine, I have to say that for sure. The petrol hybrid engine gets 3 drive modes, all electric, hybrid and combustion power. The EV mode enables the traction motor to use power from the lithium-ion battery to drive the wheels. The hybrid motor turns the engine on to spin the generator motor, which charges the traction motor to drive the wheels. And at high speeds, the internal combustion engine comes to life fully, sending power to the wheels directly using the engine-linked clutch. The way it transitions from only EV mode at say speeds under 80 km per hour and then the engine kicks in at higher speeds, that is very impressive. From a driving perspective, you really don't come to know unless the engine gets horrible at high speeds. That's really when you know that the engine is at play. Otherwise, this is a very smooth and a very well controlled, very well executed engine. The acceleration in the EV mode is truly impressive. You have enough torque coming in at the 0 RPM and that ensures that you're quick off the line. The eCVT works great and without the rubber band effect as a traditional CVT. It shifts seamlessly with linear power delivery throughout. Power goes only to the front wheels and the motor and transmission are always eager but never aggressive. All around visibility is great with the slim A-pillar and the ORVMs mounted on the door. This not only helps when cornering, but you have a good peripheral view of everything around at all times, especially on narrow streets. The ZR-V gets a multi-link rear suspension, and while a racetrack may not be the best place to gauge ride quality, the suspension has been tuned for a supple ride, keeping dynamics and comfort well balanced in typical Honda fashion. The build quality and the fit and finish is something that will leave you very impressed. There's soft touch materials on the dashboard. Just look at this honeycomb mesh finish over the air vents, little details that stay with you. You also get cross stitching on the seats and the leatherette seats themselves are excellent. The overall fit is very nice and you do feel that this is an extremely premium car. But like I said, not the most feature-rich car in the segment, which means you get a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system and on the outside nothing very fancy but does the job well. I also have to say that the quality of the camera is quite nice. I do like that, and you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's a 10.25-inch digital cluster, electrically adjustable front seats with a memory function for the driver and dual zone climate control. You also get wireless charging, a 12-speaker Bose sound system, ambient lighting, a smart wiper and a power tailgate with a kick sensor. Now here's something very interesting. If you look at the key fob, it's nothing really different, but if you come closer, you can see the one written on it. Now you get 2 sets of keys with every car, and depending on the driver, the car can preempt and adjust the seat based on the memory setting. There are quite a few misses when compared to other similar sized SUVs. You don't get a sunroof or ventilated seats, and the bonnet is held up by a prop rod instead of struts, all of which is disappointing at this price point. The boot capacity measures 380 liters, not too big for a car this size, but can be expanded to over 1300 liters with the rear seats folded. Perhaps the biggest shortcoming on the ZR-V is the rear seat space. Yes, it's a long SUV and legroom isn't an issue, but under-thigh support is extremely lacking. The floorboard is much higher, so you sit knees up, which isn't very comfortable. It's like an EV, but then this is a petrol car, so I don't see why that should have been the case. The headroom also is decent, but not very spacious given that coupe roof lines. You also get a center armrest with cup holders, and the leather upholstery is all nice, but at no point does it feel exceptional. For most people, hybrid technology is mostly about fuel efficiency, but then again you have other benefits, one being immediate acceleration, and of course there is that average that you get in the real world. Now Honda claims about 22.8 kilometers per liter, and we'll have to find out in the real world what that feels like. But on the acceleration bit, I can tell you that this is a very fun car. Having spent little time with the ZR-V today, I have to say what it does well, it does exceptionally so, and some things are definitely missing. The feature stack is definitely not there compared to the rivals that offer a lot more for a lot less. Yes, the hybrid technology is fantastic, and for those looking at power and efficiency together, this is a good match. For those wanting a more practical option, the Skoda Kodiaq or even the Volkswagen Tiguan are very good cars that cost a lot less. Cars such as the Accord, CR-V and Civic were the first premium global models from Honda for the masses in India. While neither of those nameplates now survive in the country, the car maker is looking to rebuild that appeal once again. At nearly 48 lakh rupees ex-showroom, the ZR-V does feel exorbitant for what it offers. While the price may be hard to justify, I do believe there are Honda loyalists who will appreciate it for what it is. It doesn't shout its arrival, nor does it scream expensive. It is reassuringly premium in the most understated way possible. For old Accord and CR-V buyers, Honda may finally have worth something upgrading to, and that is a niche in today's times. It's good to see some more hybrid options and finally some action from Honda after a really long time. Now remember that recently, of course, you also saw the City facelift, but overall, it's good to see the brand creating a bit of a stir. So please react to this car, the ZR-V, or in fact anything else that you want to even ask or talk about. You can reach me through this email ID or by sending in some DMs to me on Instagram or X. Now let me take a few of your questions. So the first question, hello Mr. Patankar, this is Ankit. Hi Ankit. I would like to request you to help me out with one confusion I'm experiencing while deciding my new car. That's what I'm here for. I am buying a Seltos petrol automatic. I'm not sure about the gearbox, IVT or DCT. I'm from Pune and I drive mostly in city traffic. I prefer going out on weekends into the hilly western Ghats. I know that IVT is good for bumper-to-bumper traffic in Pune, but will it give me confidence for a quick overtake of a large truck on the narrow Ghat roads? Okay, hi Ankit again. Now, that's a nice specific question and it's a real-world problem. So, while this would really also depend on what variant you're looking for, because, you know, that also depends on what features you want for your usage. Given what you've told me, I will still recommend the IVT. It's smooth, has good mileage, and it is better suited, as you said, to Pune's heavy, messy traffic. On the Ghats, it actually does have enough performance for confident overtakes, but you will need to get used to its response and then plan those overtakes accordingly. The DCT is definitely quicker, it's more fun, no doubt, but if most of your driving is in the city, the IVT is the better all-round choice. Next question is from Rajan Venkateshwaran. Sir, I was watching your program last week. I want your advice to buy a small EV car for about 60 to 70 kilometers per day. Thank you, Rajan, for watching. Now, you have not really specified a budget or what you mean by a small EV. So, your options really can range all the way from a Tata Punch to the BYD Atto 3. But let me be realistic and also throw in the Kia Ceros EV that just launched a week ago. Great pricing. It is also pretty good on range. There are 2 battery types and it even has an amazing 80% buyback offer
That is an introductory offer, but still, it's just a no-brainer really. So go check out the Cirrus EV. I hope this helps. Okay, one more question. This one is from Dinu. Hi bro, how does isobutanol mixed with diesel affect engines? Hi bro, that's a great question. Isobutanol is one of the more promising alternative fuels for diesel. And I know that everybody's freaking out about this possibly coming in. We've seen a whole lot of furor around ethanol with petrol, right? But even at blends of up to 15%, isobutanol can actually reduce soot and improve combustion because it mixes really well with diesel, mixes better with diesel than ethanol mixes with petrol, in fact. But because it does have slightly less energy than diesel, there could be a small drop. In fact, there will be a small drop in fuel economy or efficiency. As long as the blend is one that's approved by the manufacturer or mandated by the government regulations, modern diesel engines are expected to run without any issues. There is an important caveat though, and that's why we are far from being adoption ready in India. Long-term durability data from Indian conditions, well, we don't really have that. It's still being gathered, and that's why the government is starting with lower blend trials before considering wider adoption or a higher percentage of blend. Please keep more of your questions coming. I'll try and take as many of them on the show as possible. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next week with more cars and bikes. Until then, drive safe, wear your helmets and seatbelts.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट।
अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े।
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
আমাৰ নামখিনি গাই নাই দিয়া মই তালৈ যাম ন চিনাকি কৰাই দিবা পিছে আনি খালি চিকেন বস্তি কৰাই না কা কা নখন তোমাৰ পানী বাঢ়িছে নে কমিছে পানী বাঢ়ি আছে
District Commissioners, Senior, I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this program has been.
आज हम लोग जोरहाट, शिवसागर, सरायदेव सारी बाढ़ प्रभावित जिले के अधिकारी का साथ हम लोग बैठे, कैसे असेसमेंट किया जाएगा, कैसे लोगों का पास सहायता पहुंचा जाएगा, उसका बारे में हम लोग डिटेल डिस्कशन किया। एक एप्लीकेशन भी डेवलप किया गया है, कैसे हम लोग ऑनलाइन पोर्टल में डेटा को फिट करूंगा। कल जिला में ट्रेनिंग होगा, परसों से 9 तारीख से हमारा सर्वे स्टार्ट होगा। पहला फेज का सर्वे हम 30 अगस्त तक कंप्लीट करूंगा और आगे जाके 10 सितंबर तक सूची को हम लोग फाइनल करूंगा।
अरुणाचल में ज़्यादा बारिश के कारण ब्रह्मपुत्र का जल स्तर बढ़ गया है। अभी ज़्यादा बारिश होने के कारण उसमें बादल भी फटता है। ज़्यादा बारिश के कारण ही ये ब्रह्मपुत्र का जल स्तर धीरे धीरे बढ़ रहा है।
और निश्चित रूप से
तबीयत तो दादा कल जब डॉक्टर आए हैं तो शुगर बीपी सब लो हो गया है और जो है सो डॉक्टर बोल रहे हैं पानी लीजिए। लेकिन हमें लगता है कि अब इस राज्य के लिए, इस मुल्क के लिए हम अपने आप को त्याग कर दें, अपने जान को, अपने जिस्म को त्याग कर दें, क्योंकि ये सरकार जाग नहीं रही है। एक टीम भी बुलाई तो उधर से बुलाई, इधर इस मंच से बुलाई नहीं। आज मैसेज किया है कि जो है सो इधर से भी बुलाएंगे। अब बताइए कल क्यों नहीं बुलाए? हम लोग 2 गुट में नहीं है दादा। ये 25 तारीख को ये यहाँ से देवेंद्र नाथ बाबू जो है उनकी अगुवाई में बापू वाटिका से ये आंदोलन शुरुआत होती है। आप देख लीजिए बैनर में भी लिखा हुआ 25 जुलाई से। और ये जिस तरह से उलूल जुलूल बात किया जा रहा है आपके चैनल पे, मैं बता दूं कि बता दिया जा रहा है कि जो है सो सीएम साहब से बात नहीं होगी, उनके मंत्रियों से बात होगी। मैं सीएम साहब को कहना चाह रहा हूं कि आप बिल्कुल ही ये आंदोलन को और लंबा करना चाह रहे हैं। आपसे मैं पहले भी बोला था, आप ही के चैनल पे बोला था कि सीएम साहब आपसे डायरेक्ट बात करना चाहते हैं, वो भी उसमें भी वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग कैसे।
Easy conversations, meaty conversations. So we're waiting to catch up with Mr. Salve, and he just told me there are three computers here with Mr. Salve, 1 desktop and 2 laptops. I don't know. How tired are you? How's the event in the morning? So people ask me sometimes that in these interviews do you prepare questions? I said absolutely no prepared questions, no prepared answers. This is purely unscripted. Now I shall go through my elaborate makeup routine. Rhythm is having a nice laugh. Thank you, Mr. Salve, for this very special and, if I may say so, emergency episode of Nation Wants to Know, which is focused on this controversy over the Foreign Contribution Regulation Amendment Bill 2026. It seems like there is a hailstorm around this. There's a blizzard going on of conversations around this everywhere. What is making this so controversial?
See, this is the third time I'm really surprised. I was really surprised when there was opposition to farm laws. As a young lawyer, I fought so many cases challenging farm laws, and we wanted exactly what was proposed in the farm laws, to break the farmer from the stranglehold of the middleman. But that was opposed as being anti-farmer and the government gave in. I was really surprised at the opposition to the Citizenship Amendment Act, which provided that minorities in neighboring countries, which are majorities in India, or which are of Indian origin, would be allowed to come in. So if you were a Parsi, if you're a Hindu, if you were a Sikh, and you were in an Islamic country, you could come back to a secular country, i.e. India. And the criticism was this is discriminatory against Muslims. Now if we say all Muslims of Indian origin can come back into India, then you merge India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how many Pakistanis would want to continue to live in Pakistan. So this kind of a nonsensical thing goes on, and for days and days people sat in that, what is that, Shaheen Bagh for this. So it's become fashionable in India to not have a debate. I'm sorry to say, I know I'm now 70, so I'm a little derisive about this overemphasis on one-liners in Twitter and social media. The sense of detail has gone away.
Everybody goes by some narrative.
Yeah, and some narrative is built up, and that narrative sometimes is distant from reality. The FCRA is a law which every country has under different labels. No country allows you to move capital freely. If I send money to America today beyond a particular amount, I have to give an explanation what it is going for.
What it will be used for, what the end use will.
All anti-money laundering laws require declaration of purpose. So, secondly, we have now, I don't think it's any more in the shadows. The American state has now proudly declared that it has a deep state system. The US is no longer embarrassed about it or coy about it. They are proud about it. They talk of regime change. They will send the army for regime change. They take pride in the fact. They take pride in the fact that the Bangladesh regime change was brought about by them. They decide who, by their definition, is a democracy, and they bring regime change. So, in a system like this, all countries, not just India, all countries are careful about the influence of money in social affairs. America itself is worried about, they blame the Russians for tinkering with their elections. So all countries have to guard their borders, their digital borders, their financial borders. And that's what the FCRA is all about. Now, in a country like India, there are the problems which immediately get coupled unnecessarily with secularism. So the first spotlight is, churches will be deprived of funds. I am given to understand that out of roughly 23,000, 24,000 crores which came in last year, 2,300 crores went to churches. It's I think less than even 10%, of which a lot of money goes. If somebody wants to build a church, there's no problem. If somebody gives a donation to a church, what are you asked to do? You are asked to declare what the money is being used for. Let's put proselytizing to one side. What is it that makes certain areas more prone to agitations, especially in tribal areas? The church becomes a community center. And I have reason to believe, you have the equipment, you can investigate this, you do some wonderful investigation. Check wherever you have seen agitations based so-called on environment, on tribal rights. I will tell you without fear of contradiction, in some cases, some churches which have people working for them who are willing to participate in this kind of activity. Now, if they are going to be funded by the Soroses of the world to lead protests on various issues, churches are not homes of protest. Church is a house of God. It's not a house of politics. So I don't think any church should have or any mosque should have, or any Muslim institute, any religious institution should have any embarrassment in laying bare their accounts.
Yeah. When we did a story a month back in which we sent our reporters down to Chhattisgarh to the Maoist affected areas, and we found that there was a huge amount of money that was being given through certain churches. Now, these certain churches are not part of the larger Christian mainstream in India, but they're operating as churches, and the money was being withdrawn through foreign debit cards from local banks, and a surreptitious network was created. When our channel started, we investigated a particular gentleman who was at the forefront of the sort of protests on Kudankulam. We did a sting operation, and it came out that this person was getting money through Hawaii and other routes. And we asked, how come, why is American money coming in so critically in certain cases? I also found that cases where American corporate interests were involved, the protest became a very useful tool to amplify a counter movement. So essentially, would it be right to say that previous governments did not give enough attention to where this foreign money went, so that the foreign money could come in, I could give it to someone for an educational purpose, ostensibly, and then it would find its way to some other activity which may be against my national interest?
See, two things. The law was brought in the major FCRA law, which is now being amended, is 2010. It is in the Congress.
But was it a soft law?
No, not really. It had the same provisions, but it was lacking in certain important details. The way it was administered left a lot to be desired. You are required to file returns. If you don't file returns and I look the other way, what use is the law? As they say,
it's recommended. There's no binding significance.
The best law is only as good as its administration.
Correct.
So what is really worrying people is the rigor with which this law is being implemented.
What do you mean rigor?
When the 2014 government came, if you remember, certain people, I don't want to name anybody, certain people were asked to submit FCRA accounts. And I must tell you, again, I'm not naming anyone.
Just give us the inside story.
I fought with ITC, was my big client.
Okay.
Because I said the people who are appearing for the NGO for banning smoking are getting more money than you are paying me as your lawyer to defend you. Shame on you, ITC. So? I said, of course, you are a big corporate. I'm supposed to be a rich corporate lawyer. Pay me more fees, man. Mr. Yogi, that time, Yogi Deveshwara was chairman, and he and I both had a laugh about it. I said, Yogi, shame on you. You are paying me less than what the guy who's pro bono appearing against you is getting.
My God.
And the money was being sent by coming from America.
So American money was being used to lobby here against corporates operating in India.
Why? Because if people are not going to give up smoking, if you cut ITC,
somebody else will come.
Who gains?
Somebody else, some American company, some import.
The Godfrey Philip brand goes up.
So that protesters and NGOs become useful handmaidens for corporates while wearing khadi and doing the whole, NGO number.
India, there was a time where things were so bad. We were exporting iron ore and importing steel.
Yeah.
And the Japanese would buy an iron ore and sell us steel cheaper than steel was made in India. We kept India back. That is how India has been governed. This has changed in the last 12 years. Today, India is being pushed. Secondly, it's not big Indian corporate interests which are being pushed. That's why if you talk to a lot of big corporates, they say, India is okay, nothing great. But you have to see the youngsters today. And that's where I got this idea by which we did this event in France. Now, this India is worrying the world. Today, and Trump has been the best thing which happened to the world. He has given everybody a wake-up call, saying America, he has exposed America for what it is worth. He is no worse than the other. The good thing about it is, he is so in your face.
He's brazen.
He is brazen.
Yeah.
So the whole world knows America can't be trusted.
Yeah.
Europe has been abandoned like a child who's told one day, get out and fend for yourself. All these years, America very craftily built up Europe, saying, we'll look after your security interests, you increase your social spending.
Yeah.
Social spending is a one-way street.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to turn. Now that has happened. Who are they looking at? Europe is looking at one very stable country called China. China has a great advantage in this respect because it's not a democracy.
Yeah.
Jinping runs it the way he wants to. And you hear about China what he wants you to hear about China. It's a black hole of news. He controls it, but its growth has been phenomenal. And you have to give China credit for what they have achieved for themselves. Which is the other country which is now sharing global stage? Yeah. India.
Yeah.
You're going to be the fourth largest economy.
Yeah.
Heading to being the third largest economy. 1.4 billion with a median age of below 30.
28.
Below 30.
Yeah.
So, and the kind of productivity which you see now in India, the innovation in India, that's where the real India is.
So we'd be a threat to China too.
Gandhi always said India should grow in its villages, in its small towns and its small people, not the big guys. And that's what Prime Minister Modi's initiatives are. I don't know whether mainstream media has ever covered something called the Atal Mission. Tinkering labs. Do you know, schools have tinkering labs where even uneducated children are told, if you have an idea, come try it, make something. An Indian company has made missile launch vehicle, satellite launch vehicles in addition to satellites. Do you know what the age of that, average age of that company is? 29. There is an Indian company which makes drones, whose drones were very successfully used in Operation Sindoor. They put up a stall in India Innovates. Our Prime Minister was there for the inauguration. Macron was there. He took President Macron to the stall. President Macron told that chap, come and see me tomorrow in Paris.
In fact, I was told Prime Minister came for the Republic Summit and Sridhar Vembu was there, and he said that there was a line outside the Zoho stall at Paris. But what has this got to do with FCRA? Can you put it in context of the big picture?
This is what scares people about India.
So what is the connection to FCRA? I'm getting it, but I want you to explain it deeper to the audience.
We have to be very careful. We are a democracy. We are not China. China brought on tanks on Tiananmen Square and crushed everything. We are not. We can never do that. We will never do that. What is our most vulnerable point? We just saw our most vulnerable point being exposed.
CJP.
A group like the CJP, and you've done a lot of work on them, were able to sell a narrative. And today, powerful social media makes it very easy to sell narratives. Look at this 2-bit Meta and their temerity to take our Prime Minister off. They today know, in a democracy like India, you can create narrative. And you can destroy India through narratives. What does it take to create narrative? Money. Today you run a big channel. You need lots of money to run a big channel. Correct? You know how. True. It's not easy to run a big news network.
Trust me.
You create narratives, as you should. That's a part of your job as a media man. But you also know what it needs. It needs money. Now you do an official media channel, you can raise money through official sources. For this kind of narrative building in India, where did the money come from? Who funds protests? Protest, of course, is democratic.
Yeah.
But funded protests have becoming the order of the day.
Completely inorganic. I found CJP to be totally inorganic. And I said an estimated 5 to 6 million is used for a bot and bot campaign, BOT and BOUGHT campaign. It was inorganic, it was artificial. But you see, the point is...
all this costs money.
All this costs money.
And if they are going to allow this money to come into India...
unchecked.
If this kind of money is allowed to come into India, you are giving a weapon by which, as they say, they will use the very freedoms which the Constitution gives them to destroy the Constitution.
So this is a very interesting spin. I want to take 30 seconds to speak to the audience. I'm coming back to you. You see, viewers, if you're watching this is why my conversation with Mr. Salve today will have a great deal of significance. FCRA, according to Mr. Salve, is not, and I hope I'm interpreting it correctly, it's not only about the church. It's not only about conversion by allurement, what is called proselytization. It is also about a whole group called the NGO group, who are not NGOs for a social purpose, but who may be weaponized to fight corporate battles, who may be weaponized against Indian industry, who may be weaponized against India's domestic growth, because the whole world wants to see India only as a market. But if we get into manufacturing, if we become rocket makers, and we want to harness our mineral resources, we want to do a big project in Nicobar, for example, where we are pumping in 11 to 20 billion dollars, it's easy for a group of people under the cover of NGOs to block that progress. If that happens, we'll never be able to compete with China. So, coming back to Mr. Salve, have I interpreted it correctly? That the ongoing debate has been only about proselytization, but it's a lot more than that.
In fact, the debate against FCRA tells you the need to control funds. Look at the narrative which is being created about FCRA. Modi government is anti-minority. I mean, I find that rather strange, considering I'm a baptized Christian, born and brought up in India.
No, yeah, of course. I must say that the person I'm speaking to is probably, I was telling Rhythm before this, I came in, I said probably he's the most prominent Christian in the country today. Correct. So the most prominent Christian
I consider
in the country today, the greatest legal luminary in the Christian community or the minority community.
I'm not a prominent Christian. I'm a prominent Indian.
Who happens to be a Christian.
Who was born in a Christian family and baptized as a Christian. My personal faith is Christian, but that's all.
No, but are you, one second. Do you ever feel on the back foot on your views on FCRA because of your being a baptized
Not at all. In fact, when I was looking for admission for my elder daughter, of course, the whole world says I'm a very prominent Christian, but when I was asked my elder daughter to apply in St. Stephen's, and I said, maybe there's a Christian quota, you get it. I was asked to prove my Christian credentials. But anyway, let's put that to one side. They said, really, is your father a Christian? Anyway, let's put that to one side. The Modi government, it's now an open secret. In 2014, Prime Minister Modi wanted me to be the Attorney General for India, where he came and this. I've been working with the government of India. I was his lawyer of choice for the Jadhav case. That is the biggest international case India has ever had. I was lawyer of choice and still working on the Indus Valley, the rivers. I mean, if India has a case of global sensitivities, he has faith in me. Does it bother him that I'm a Christian? I am the director of IIT, I am the director of Delhi, I am the director of IIT, Chairman Board of Governors IIT Delhi, Chairman Board of Governors IIT Roorkee. It doesn't bother him that I'm a Christian. So, when people say this is a government which favors some... I defended... You remember you were a young reporter when I fought the 11 judges case, when you did a big story on the Attorney General contradicting.
Totally, oh my God. That is historic.
Yeah, correct.
I remember that totally.
I remember Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi, who was so, again the narrative around him was, he's this, he's that. Do you know his only instruction to me was, Harish, we have only one objection. Taxpayers' money should not be used for any religion, including Hinduism. That's all. Everything else, we fully support all minority institutions. No fight with them.
But is FCRA amendment anti-Christian?
I am telling you.
Is FCRA amendment
I am attacking this whole narrative of this lens through which we start looking at things. Is it anti-Muslim? Is it anti-Christian? Is it anti-this?
Correct.
It's a law to control money coming into India. This is against churches. This is against mosques. This is against gurdwaras.
Then explain one thing to me so that this matter is settled. And viewers, in this new bill, scheduled purposes for registration, see Rule 9(1)(b), the controversial part. This is the part you can see, we got this all marked in yellow, 4 references to proselytization, where it says that you are going to have to tell the government what the money is going to be used for. And the various categories are religious, cultural, economic, educational, and social.
Correct.
It also mentions who cannot receive.
Correct.
I'll come to the who cannot receive part later.
Yep.
But it is written under religious that you can do almost everything.
Of course.
You can, for example, and this we need to clarify because this has been going on and on. I get irritated that you can't send money for faith. No, you can send money to promote faith. If you want to construct a mosque, you can. If you want to construct a church, you can. If you want to help in the preservation of Islamic or Christian theology, you can. The only thing that is not being allowed, repeatedly they say, excluding proselytization. Excluding proselytization. Why is this being specified? Is this aimed at Christians only?
No.
And how does one define proselytization? For example, suppose you study in a Jesuit school.
Yes.
Right? I have for a few years. And suppose you study in a Jesuit school and you go through a catechism class, which you can, even as a non-Christian. And suppose later you convert your religion. You become a Christian in your adult years. Will it be inferred that the school was trying to proselytize you? And would that put the school and the institution on the defensive?
Not at all. Not at all. See, let's be very clear of what is allowed, what is not allowed.
Yeah.
We all have freedom of conscience.
You do.
Correct?
Yeah.
Today, I may be born into one religion. I may choose to follow another religion. That's my freedom of choice.
Right.
Today, I am entitled to tell the world that I am a devout Buddhist, devout Christian, devout Muslim.
Correct.
And I think that this is the greatest religion.
Yeah.
Correct?
There's no problem with that.
No problem. What I should not say is criticize another person's religion because that creates bad blood. And that has nothing to do with proselytization.
What is
what happens is giving undue inducements. There is poverty in India. Even now, a very significant percentage of our population lives in poverty in tribal areas. Arnab, my father was a member of parliament from Baitul. And this is not the present constituency. Present constituency which Mr. Kamal Nath was representing, I don't know who represents it now, is Baitul Chhindwara. His original constituency didn't have Chhindwara, it had some other remote areas, Damo and this. I've, as a 13, 14-year-old, gone with him in a jeep. When he joined politics when I was 11 years old. So I used to just go for the ride with him. We used to from Nagpur take a jeep and they didn't have motorable roads, so we used to go there. And a very moving experience of my life was when I was sitting in the jeep, there was a fight in a village over a well. They won't allow the certain caste people to draw water from the well. And they said this is for Hindus. And my father said, okay, he called the collector and said, I'm going to come and draw water from this. And called two of those people and they will draw water and let me see who can stop us. Now this is how you break social taboos. But my experience was I was sitting in the car and I was wearing a t-shirt and what passed for jeans in those days. And there was a young boy, he had no shirt, just shorts, very poor. And he was touching the jeep to see if it was for real. Then he touched me to see if I was for real. This is the kind of crushing poverty which we have in India. Now, in a situation like this, if I come and say, you want food, change your faith. You want medical aid, change your faith. If you want treatment in my hospital, first come, be baptized, and then I will treat you, otherwise I will not treat you. Now, this is something we have to be careful about because this is interfering with your constitutional right of freedom of faith.
How can it be proven that the money was given to change faith?
Correct. So there are certain churches or certain institutions, not just in one religion. The purpose of this is you have to say what your program is for. You are propagating the message of Christ, you're distributing pamphlets, you're organizing priests to give sermons. Go right ahead. Say you're spending money on that. But when you have to disclose what you think, it will get exposed. What you're doing is you're actually interfering with freedom of faith. Today I may go and see what wonderful work a missionary is doing and I may voluntarily change my faith.
Yeah.
That's not proselytizing. No. But if I am told we will distribute food. And back in the day, and I don't know whether you know about this, in tribal area there would be camps where there would be priests with holy water and...
Immediately on the spot.
On the spot.
In fact, a funny story. In Chhindwara, when our reporter went, the first attempt was to convert her. Then they asked her, are you married?
Yeah.
She said, I'm not married. Then they brought a local boy and they said, we're going to get you married here right now.
Yeah.
So it's a very immediate, what some people are calling this harvesting of souls movement.
See, that is...
So, but will this be a deterrent enough? And second question is...
It's not deterrent. See, I'll tell you, the focus of this bill is not proselytizing. Again,
then what is it?
The focus of this bill is exposing, giving sunlight on what you are up to and what we really need to prevent. Proselytizing is a very small part of the big picture. The big picture is India today is at a stage, the world first of all is at a stage when narrative building is very easy.
That's the point.
The global explosion and the Indian explosion of digitalization has brought tremendous growth. Today, even a village, on your phone you can do transactions. India has the largest digital bank, etc. This brings certain problems with it. Today, the poorest person in the remotest area has access to YouTube, has access to Instagram, etc. I don't even know what other social platforms there are. So you have to be very sensitive to narrative building.
But let me give a contrary perspective. Now, digital organizations can operate anywhere in the world.
Correct.
As I began by saying, sir, that this is not just about what is not allowed, which is like proselytization, but also there is a prohibition on some people or groups accepting foreign contributions.
Yes, there always has been.
In this part, the people who are banned are election candidates, so politicians.
Always.
Political parties.
Yes, always been.
Judges, legislators and news publishers, which means a news network. I guess
FDI news has always been restricted even under Congress government.
FDI news has been restricted up to 26%, right?
Always.
Even today.
Under Mr. Chidambaram's policy, they were restricted.
And it also says the prohibition also extends to the association or companies engaged in the production or broadcast of news or current affairs programs.
Now look at this.
So this is the entire gamut.
No, I am so happy you brought this up. News, and you know this very well, news is a business, correct? News is one of the areas where you're giving a social service, but it has to be on a business model. And on a business model, you incorporate it as a company, you have shareholders' money, you generate profits, you distribute dividends. Foreign direct investment is allowed, albeit up to a limit, and for good reason. And that's always been, on which is non-controversial. What does this apply to? Can you bypass the FDI limit by taking donations? Secondly, why would anybody want to give a donation from outside to a news channel in India unless it is for promoting a point of view?
Without a doubt.
Then,
but there are zillions of them doing it right now.
So you have to prohibit that. Now, how do you do it? Will this bill be successful? I hope its implementation achieves at least half success. Because what happens in the darkness of the night, money laundering, is not going to disappear with this bill.
What if a news organization now that sees that, okay, if we register in India, then we are subject to Indian laws.
Yes.
But what we'll continue to do is we'll operate through the digital environment. We will incorporate a company in Switzerland or Belarus or Germany. We will operate from there and we'll just have contributors from India to bypass the FCRA. How will you block that?
That we can do digitally. That is a separate battle which we will fight. But if there is a foreign news source,
ostensibly registered outside India.
Yeah.
Because you know the problem in India is there is no digital regulation of news. This 26%, every limitation on news is only restricted.
100%. That's one very important area. There is a sandbox which I'm working on for AI news and social and everything, where policy, there has to be a big policy wrap around all this. All this is work in progress.
What about lawyers? What about lawyers groups? I'm sorry, can I be
100%.
direct? Can I be direct
Oh,
with
please,
you, Mr. Salve?
please ask me.
There are, without naming names, there are lawyers who have taken tons of money over the last 20 years from unknown places, registered NGOs. Some of them have registered NGOs in their spouses' names,
Yes.
taken money, done agitations, put pressure on the Supreme Court of India,
Yes.
and tried to operate like an NGO within the presence of India's highest court. What happens to them? So are they not running a parallel industry? Should they not be subject to FCRA? But I don't see lawyers mentioned. Oh, they mention judges, but they don't mention lawyers.
No. What will happen is, if a lawyer registers an NGO in his wife's name, he will have to declare what the money is coming from and where it is going. See, that transparency, sunlight is the best disinfectant. If I have an NGO and I am allowed to receive for social work, the umbrella expression, social work, without having to disclose to the government how exactly I have spent that money, then all this goes on. So today, if a lawyer's wife is the front of an NGO and receives money, very good. You spend the money, what have you spent it on?
Show me the accounts.
Show me the accounts.
the audits.
Yeah, file your returns.
Yeah.
File your return showing the accounts. Now, if your accounts show that this has gone on supplying food to a protest march, all right, which protest march was it? At least you're coming out in the open. We know,
under scrutiny.
And you will know whose money is funding what march. So, transparency is the best, and these things do not happen in transparency.
There are two other arguments against FCRA. One is what happens to RSS? This entire the sort of pro FCRA
law applies to RSS as
so
much as
I said to someone on my program, tell me if I'm right. I said this, where has it been written that the RSS has got exemption under foreign contribution?
On the contrary. On the contrary.
It applies to them?
100%.
So if somebody, okay, so here's a question. If somebody were to be giving money from Switzerland or Belarus or Sri Lanka to RSS, and it were to be found that RSS is indulging in proselytization, can you act against RSS?
Of course. Of course. Of course you can. The law is the
then
same.
That argument is a non-starter from the first word go.
Why?
Why doesn't the government explain this?
I don't know. See, again, we are in a war of narratives. I was on 4 debates where I said, can you show me which provision of the central, of that Citizenship Amendment Act applies to Indians? No, the rules will be made, as well rules can't be made. So it's all a narrative.
It is entirely narrative setting.
100%.
Once you set the narrative, you put one other side on the defensive. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, so I am.
Now the other argument here is too much power. And that's, this, India being an undemocratic state, you can seize assets. There's a designated authority.
Of course.
An Orwellian situation being created that big brother is watching over you. All people are equal, but some people are more equal than others. Blah, 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 blah.
Tell me one country where big brother doesn't watch you.
No, but they say that if the West, if we find that somebody is doing conversion, the government seizes control of the assets to a designated authority. Yeah, but they say there is no opportunity to appeal that.
I'm sorry, there is an opportunity for hearing. Earlier that wasn't there. In fact, they've now relaxed the rule.
Say thank you that there's a hearing.
No, they provided for a hearing, and if the order is arbitrary, it will be challenged in a court. You can always challenge it in a court, and the court will see if there is adequate material for the order. So I don't know where all these ideas are coming from. It's ridiculous to say a court will stand by and let somebody's property be taken without adequate evidence. This is all a fake narrative.
I got a feeling during this Jantar Mantar thing, I was counting 7,000 people there, 2,800 hardened criminals, say 4,200 left. Say assume 50% of them are students and 50% of the hangers-on and reel makers. Which means 2,800 students out of what is called a Gen Z, I call it the youth population of 40 crore at least, is not even 0.0001%. But through the glare and the focus of media and narrative setting, claim to represent the entire country, whereas this issue did not have resonance in other parts of the country. So even here, it appears to me that all the people who will be smashed because of FCRA coming in, FCRA amendment, are exercising disproportionate control over judiciary, democracy, media, narratives, and there's all coming together here.
See, today, narrative rules the day. Now, I can understand politicians have to be sensitive to narrative because they have to go back to the people and ask for votes. I'm sorry to say I have seen judgments where you can see the unseen influence of narratives, because judges also have what are called can't helps. Every judge is a human being. I'm not suggesting anything inappropriate, but narratives do affect you.
Oh, they do.
Like a lot of senior judges used to say, back in the day, we do not read newspapers. Because when I go into the court, I don't want to know if somebody has something to say about this. I must hear it from the lawyers, read it from the papers, decide, and then read about it in the newspapers. So that's the importance of judges staying away from narratives. And being in the legal profession where everything is tested on cross-examination, everything is tested in a court on the anvil of truth, I realize how dangerous narratives are. And the kind of things I've heard about the FCRA, it's a long-standing law. It's a law which says if you are receiving a donation, you and I live in the real world. Try getting a dollar out of an American.
Sir, I say one thing to you. Can I share a personal experience? Once went to America and a few of us were taken for lunch and we were told there's an American presidential candidate who lost was taking us for lunch. We were very young, just out. And we thought that this is a great opportunity to have a fancy lunch in a fancy restaurant. After the lunch was over, the politician's assistant came across and divided the bill by, divided the tip.
Your share.
And I walked out of the restaurant thinking, in America there is no free lunch. Why would the Americans be pumping in money to India for a social cause?
That's what I'm saying.
And the people who are taking the money know it. There's a quick
America has huge racial problems. There is a large tribe of America where the indigenous people are kept in reservations. America has its own host of problems. How much money do they spend on their own problems? Europe today is in economic shambles. London is a city, believe me, I've had to switch to wearing an Apple Watch because I have a flat in what is considered a very fancy area of London, Mayfair. You are told, please don't wear an expensive watch in Mayfair, you'll be mugged.
My God.
My wife
terrible.
has been mugged once, hold your breath, on Bond Street. Bond Street is the most expensive street of London for shopping.
Knifing incidents have gone up.
Knifing, and the fellow came, he snatched her phone, pushed her. She is lucky she was wearing a messenger bag which broke her fall, otherwise her head would have hit the pavement, anything could have happened. Disappeared, the police said there's nothing we can do. So this is what is happening in a city like London. Selfridges, she went shopping in Selfridges, her wallet disappeared in Selfridges. She went up to the 5th floor to complain and there was a big queue. In front of her there was a Chinese girl who was howling away. She was from a rich family, she had done a lot of shopping. Her bags, her passport, her ticket, money, everything was gone. Poor thing was on a flight late night. She said, I don't know what to do, it's a weekend. This is the state of London. Okay? Are these people going to give donations to India? They can't fix their own system.
You know, there's this phrase called quangocracy which is going on there. Quasi NGOs running the democracy of the UK. As a result of that, in London, I studied there in the 90s, and I was at Oxford and later in the early 2000s in Cambridge. The police was respected and feared.
Yes.
Today it isn't.
No, it's
and I felt very bad during CJP because if you're going to be beating up RAF personnel in the way some of these people were, then we are going down that path. So I think the entire this Western Hemisphere, envious of India, seeing us not as a collaborator but a competitor, would want to target us, and we need to block them.
First of all, when you say somebody from the Western world is sending you a donation, I cannot suppress a smile. They could well do with the money themselves. There, the what they call it, the Yellow Jackets protests in Paris bring the city to a halt. They are a few less now. I know what the situation, I spend a lot of time in south of France now. I see what the situation is like. They could do with all the help. The big fight against immigration is because they say we can't take more people. They are sending donations to India. Why?
Why is this? In conclusion, Mr. Salve, why are people not asking these questions in India? And therefore, I'm very happy that this interview is happening because, you know, when I knew that you were here today, I ran between your prime ministerial appointment and your next big arbitration case. I said, I must get the time to understand in perspective and get from you the bigger picture. You see, this this interview shows this could be used against Indian corporates. This interview shows it could be used for conversion. This interview shows it could be used to build a narrative using or misusing the media to break.
I want your narrative to start from here.
Yeah.
A donation is suspect. A donation coming from a country like America, which would not give, look at what they have done, turning their back on Gaza.
Yeah.
Look at what they have done, turning their back on the refugees from Syria. Look at what they have done, turning their back on the large refugee migration happening from southern Lebanon. They are sending donations to India?
Yeah.
Really? Why? So when somebody says the Western world is so generous, so charitable and so prosperous, and poor little, starving India, they are out of goodness of heart sending money. You're living in a Alice in Wonderland.
This has been absolutely fantastic. You speak to people in government, are they confident?
See, the government today...
What does the government need to do?
The government...
You now have this, sort of
no.
bird's eye view,
not bird's
grasshopper
eye
view.
The government...
What is the government doing wrong or right?
The government has taken hard steps all along, and for which your media, you've supported them. I salute the government. I salute the government for scrapping 370. I salute the government for suspending the Indus Valley Treaty. Between you and me, I've been telling the government, scrap the treaty. I mean, for the simple logic that all water negotiations have a 100-year time span.
Yeah.
Because you're based on...
But you saw the Pakistanis, how they had a conference there in Islamabad recently, trying to get people around.
Of course they will do.
To sort of,
of course.
raise...
And then suddenly those people who fund Pakistan will also fund NGOs here to hold meetings.
Yep.
The day I have fought for Gujarat very hard and finally got through the Sardar Sarovar Dam. I have seen Meda Patkar and gang for protecting the lifestyle of 20,000 tribals. You ask that tribal if he is happy with his lifestyle. They live in abject poverty, in the middle of nowhere. They are being relocated. For them, you prevent drinking water to 3 million people, in a perpetually, to 30 million people, in a perpetually drought-prone Saurashtra. So, and who is funding all this? And she used to attend international conferences. And she came and protested outside Supreme Court and all that thing happened. Fortunately, we had some very tough judges at that time who took a strong line and dealt with the Sardar Sarovar case. Now, I have seen this. Where was all that money coming from? And World Bank gave a $10 million loan. Do you know what American pressure did to World Bank? They said, the government of India must agree that we will come and audit and monitor and we will see how you spend it. And we said, sorry, no. That compromises our sovereignty. Do you attach those conditions to other countries? They said, no, but we can't trust you. We said, keep your money. They received, in those days, there were no emails, they received millions of letters saying, tribals are being crushed in India, do not give this money. The loan was cancelled. 4 weeks later, the loan was transferred to another country where another company supplied the turbo generators.
Can you imagine? So we don't see these.
We
don't connect the dots, but the dots include corporates, media, and proselytization. Not only conversion, but all these three and a lot more. Mr. Salve, you've given us a very sweeping perspective. I'm glad you took the time.
I am telling you, if somebody criticizes FCRA, I say, let's put FCRA second. First, answer my question. Who is this lovely person who has so much money? He doesn't want to give it to Gaza.
Sir, ask the media.
Where people are starving. See what has happened today. How many people today, how many children have been killed? How many people are going without a meal in that part of the world? What about Morocco? There are so many poorer countries in the world. Their heart doesn't bleed for them. What is happening in Somalia? What's happening in Ethiopia? What's happening in Congo? Their heart bleeds for India, the fourth largest economy.
Because we will be...
Wake up.
Yeah. We need to... This interview is a wake-up call.
Wake up.
Glad to meet you today. And glad to see you fit and fine and looking great and see more of you here in India, sir. Mr. Salve, thank you very much, sir. It's a total pleasure. Thank you so much, sir. Was that all right?
Always. Huh? Excellent.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
कुछ तो सस्ता लो,
सब बढ़िया लो,
इसमें क्या खास बात है?
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। मसाला
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट।
अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट। अच्छा कोलकाता से। अंदर 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 अंदर
और निश्चित रूप से
तबीयत तो दादा कल जब डॉक्टर आए हैं तो शुगर बीपी सब लो हो गया है, और जो है सो डॉक्टर बोल रहे हैं पानी लीजिए। लेकिन हमें लगता है कि अब इस राज्य के लिए, इस मुल्क के लिए हम अपने आप को त्याग कर दें, अपने जान को, अपने जिस्म।
As Hero Tiranga Trails and Gunners Ladakh Odyssey enters day 6, the expedition leaves the familiar routes of central Ladakh and begins its journey towards the rugged landscapes of eastern Ladakh. Today's route will take the riders from Karoo through Zingral and Changla before concluding at Tangsi. The day's opening coverage focuses on a silent departure, marking the beginning of another demanding chapter of the expedition. Powered by Hero Motocorp, the expedition now moves into some of Ladakh's most challenging terrain, where dependable engineering becomes as critical as the resolve of the riders themselves. Our correspondent Shubham Verma joins us from Karoo.
एक एक्सपेडिशन की असली चुनौती और एक्साइटमेंट तब शुरू होती है जब सफर और मुश्किल होना शुरू हो जाए, और कारू से आज वही सफर शुरू होता है। ईस्टर्न लद्दाख की तरफ बढ़ता ये राउट धीरे धीरे हाई ऑल्टीट्यूड पासेस और चैलेंजिंग टेरेन में बदल जाता है। आज हीरो तिरंगा ट्रेल्स और गनर्स लद्दाख ऑडिसी इसी राउट पर अपना अगला फेज शुरू कर रही है, जहां पहला हॉल्ट होगा जिंगराल, उसके बाद चांगला और दिन का समापन होगा तांगसने में। ऐसे टेरेन में एक्सपेडिशन को सिर्फ डिटर्मिनेशन नहीं, डिपेंडेबल इंजीनियरिंग की भी जरूरत होती है। इसी भरोसे के साथ हीरो मोटोकॉर्प इस पूरी एक्सपेडिशन को पावर दे रहा है। हर क्लाइंब, हर डिसेंट और हर चेंजिंग टेरेन के साथ हीरो मोटरसाइकिल्स एक्सपेडिशन को उस जगह तक पहुंचाने में मदद कर रही है जहां ट्रिब्यूट सिर्फ दिया नहीं जाता बल्कि महसूस भी किया जाता है। इस एक्सपेडिशन के साथ चल रहे रेजिमेंट ऑफ आर्टिलरी के सर्विंग पर्सनल और वेटरन्स लद्दाख के इन्हीं रास्तों पर भारत की मिलिट्री लेगेसी को सल्यूट करते हुए आज ईस्टर्न लद्दाख की ओर अपना सफर जारी रखेंगे।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अच्छा कोलकाता से।
और निश्चित रूप से
तबीयत तो दादा
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है, स्वादिष्ट